Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
If we can manage to get through the theme song without it breaking up, Dave, maybe it'll be successful. We're sitting around thinking this episode's already cursed right from the jump. We'll find out, folks. We're like starting our run of holiday, Halloween, horror movie season type stuff. We jam-packed the episode with a bunch of movies to watch. Hey, if you got a cold one, drink it, crack it open. Disclaimer, if you get too drunk and you climb on your roof and you celebrate Halloween by falling off and spearing yourself on the fence post, hey, all we said was crack open a cold one. We didn't say dance on the roof and fall off and kill yourself. That's dark, but it's that kind of episode. It's October and the year of the monkey, something 2000, 3000, depending on which calendar you follow. And we're gonna do a podcast. Joining as always, there's Dangerous Dave. He's so dangerous, he'll tell you his opinions on movies, whether he hates them or not. And then Jordan, she's so savage that she may not even have seen it and can just tell you if it's good or not, without even having to watch a classic movie or two. She can just tell you right out of the gate, like, hey, no, watch it or don't. How you feeling, Dave?
Okay.
Better than me, because I'm going to the dark side, like in the first
the season. I'm gonna say, man.
What is it? What is it? A way to start off the season?
I said it's just a weird way to start off the season, both movies and this feed right now.
General vibes. Jordan, how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling groovy. I'm ready to
Nice.
talk about some movies with you guys.
Well, I actually watched Vampire in Brooklyn, which Dave told me he doesn't like, but I watched that to wash out the taste, a metallic, tingy, bile kind of taste in my mouth after watching 3 duds in a row. And so usually we really stake out this season like in advance. We go, these are qualified horror movies, no problem. We're going to review them to death. It's going to be great. And this year, like, I took a chance on 3 new releases, and they all kind of sucked in my opinion. And okay, maybe it's karma, because I did pick one that I knew was going to be kind of a dud on Netflix. Like, we had a general feeling that the new Monsters movie by Rob Zombie was going to be trash, and it was trash. We're like, okay, we'll watch 2 good movies and we'll make fun of the third one. Ha ha ha, we'll get a bunch of laughs. The joke's really on me, because I picked 3 movies, I watch them, and I go, oh wow, now we have to do a whole podcast on these 3 movies. I don't even know if that's possible, because they all suck. But we'll vet it out. We'll see what happens. We're here really to talk about my best friend's Exorcism, which is a new movie, and it's on Amazon Prime. Is that right, Dave? Is that where it is? Yeah. It's on
Amazon
Prime right
original.
now. Yeah, an Amazon original. and the other 2 movies we're gonna get into later will be obviously the new Hocus Pocus 2, which is on Disney Plus. I'll do different voices for all 3 of what I think the channels sound like. Disney Plus. And then the final movie, as we mentioned already, is The Monsters on Netflix. Yeah, I think it sounds like that because of Bridgerton.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because, rest in peace, Bridgerton season 3. They're never going to get there. The way they're canceling shows left and right and going back to shows with commercials. It's really funny. Actually, there might be some light at the end of this tunnel. Everybody's canceling their on-demand subscriptions, and did you guys see Warner Brothers got in trouble for juicing their HBO Max numbers? And also, what are they dumping? Oh, if you buy something video on demand, it's just like what they call a long-term rental. If you read the fine print, you never actually own the movie that you downloaded, $4.99 on sale or whatever. So people are like, oh, so maybe DVD sales will come back, like soaring into physical media. And all the collectors are like, yeah, get it on DVD. And I'm like, oh, that'd be really interesting if, because they're going to put commercials in these on-demand things now, right? That's like regular television, right? You remember this? You watch a show on Fox 30 or whatever, and commercials. So now Netflix and all these other things are going to have commercials. And then, so I'm like, oh, that's an opportunity for video stores to come roaring back. And then Dave can open Dangerous Videos. Right, Dave?
Sure. I'm literally understanding every fifth word you're saying right now.
Oh, great.
I'm enjoying it. Keep
So
it
if
rolling, John.
I look lost, it's because I am.
But I already pay for like all the streaming services, and I'm pretty sure I watch commercials in all of them. So
Yeah.
it's almost already like watching cable,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, in other home video headlines, did you guys see that Hugh Jackman was coming back as Wolverine for Deadpool 3?
I have seen some articles.
It's rad.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
I mean, Hugh Jackman in anything. We already talked about this with that robot movie.
Hugh Jackman in anything.
My favorite
that's a great endorsement.
was him in denim jeans. So
anything. I'm writing that down. Hugh Jackman in anything. That's like the quote of the episode.
In fact, we should just have a new segment where we take classic movies and put Hugh Jackman in a famous role instead of somebody else.
I would be okay with
that. Speaking of Halloween, did you guys ever see the Trick or Treat movie? I guess there's like two movies called Trick or Treat, but there's this one with this little guy. His name is Sam, but he's after like Samhain, like the seasonal spirit of the solstice or whatever, like the Halloween spirit thing. But he's got a little pumpkin face, and he's in a horror movie called Trick or Treat. And people love that little dude. And anyway, they're gonna finally make a part 2. I mean, they've been talking about part 2 for like 10 years, maybe? Has it been 10 years since the other one came out?
Something like that.
Yeah, about a decade. So looks like they're finally gonna do like a freaking part 2. David, you love Nightmare Before Christmas. Did you hear that they might do a prequel show?
And I just today from your notes. I don't know. Just do it and let's see how it is. I'm always wary of any show that like takes that long or something after the source material, because it's not always good. But
okay.
I have a lot. I don't know. I love that. I love that movie. I watch it like twice a year for Halloween and Christmas. So
I thought when I dropped that, you would be like super excited. This is like one of your favorite movies with Jack the Skeleton King. And
is that excitement?
I mean,
no,
right,
yeah.
There's a weird energy in this gym tonight, David. You need to turn this around, okay?
Well, like I said, like I'm trying to keep up with what you're saying because it's really hard right now, and it's not your fault.
I won't ask you anything specific, then. You just keep nodding your head in the background. There's also a short film being made into an original Halloween 3. Okay, Jordan, this is going to be really hard to explain. So, 79, they make a movie called Halloween. Then a couple years later, they make Halloween 2. They pull Michael Myers through a fire. He doesn't die. They make another one. They make part 3. It's not about Michael Myers. Because they're like, oh yeah, Halloween's supposed to be like an anthology where every year the Halloween thing is like a different villain or like whatever. It's like supposed to be like Crypt Keeper, Tales from the Crypt or like whatever. So in the third one, these Halloween masks, if the kids watch commercials on the TV, I think their heads would explode. Is that right, David? Would heads explode? Let's see if you can catch up.
Oh my God, what is going on?
Again, I can't understand half of what you're saying.
All right, I'll just keep talking. So, in Halloween,
if you're trying to confirm that, do they turn into bugs and snakes? Yes, they do. Because I didn't hear what you said.
Great. All right.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be sassy. Jerk.
So anyway, after Halloween 3, they went back to Michael Myers, and he didn't die in the fire. They showed him in a freaking ambulance, and he's being driven somewhere, and he gets out. It's a whole other movie. And then, like, for 2 more movies, he's chasing his freaking little niece around. Mm-hmm. And then they made a sequel to that original. I call it the original continuity because then Rob Zombie makes 2 Halloween movies. And now this new company has made 3 movies with Jamie Lee Curtis. And that's supposed to be, like, the official continuity. But that goes all the way back to number 1 and cuts out 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Mm-hmm. So, whatever. It's really hard to follow because you have to, like, draw a line with a crayon because it's like... So, this short film would harken back to the original continuity of the original Part 3, even though there's actually 3 Part 3s out there now, and there's about to be a 4th Part 3, which it doesn't make any sense anymore.
So it's like Part 3 is really the first of the second timeline?
I think they need to go back and rebrand these. Like, you know how comic books will have characters in like different storylines or universes, like, Superman, Infinity, or I don't know. I don't keep up with comics. They're gonna have to do that with Halloween, where they're like, all right, this is the Michael Myers series, or I don't know.
Well, they've killed the
all the
sister.
different
Spoiler alert,
continuities.
folks, if you haven't watched any of the Halloween stuff. They've killed Laurie Strode's character, I think, 3 times now. This will be the 3rd time coming up if she does die. If Jamie Lee Curtis has a 3rd death in this new 3rd movie, which is the 4th third movie that they've attempted to make, your head could really explode trying to track the Halloween movies.
There are literally charts online that like tell you like, okay, is this storyline or this universe, whatever they call it.
But the movie we started talking about that a short film was going to be a sequel to, the original Halloween 3, is called Season of the Witch. It could literally exist outside of the Halloween movies because of what it's about. I mean, it takes place relatively in the same place. I think there's like a loose tie-in to Haddonfield or something in the 3rd one, but otherwise it's not the same killer, whatever. It's these Halloween masks from Shamrock Toys or whatever it is.
Yeah, you can totally make its own storyline because Halloween 3, while in that universe, was a totally different story. So you can split off something from that.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave, for backing up what I said.
Why not?
Tonight's movie is called My Best Friend's Exorcism. Hold on. I'm going to pull up the description for this movie real quick and tell people what we're actually talking about somehow. Okay. In 1988, best friends Abby and Gretchen navigate boys' pop culture and a paranormal force clinging to Gretchen. With the help from a mall exorcist, Abby is determined to compel the demon back to the pits of hell if it doesn't kill Gretchen first. That movie is called My Best Friend's Exorcism. Dave, you got any dangerous thoughts, facts, trivia about tonight's movie? And they better be dangerous.
I got them as dangerous as I could find them. In the movie, the demon Andrus is actually a real demon that it was noted as the 63rd spirit summoned by King Solomon. In artistic interpretations, Andrus is shown drawn as a human-like body and an owl's head. So the owl at the end of the movie is a nod that Andrus might still be around. That wasn't very clear from watching it on its own.
It had a name because I thought it looked like a creature from Troll 2. It was like really crappy. It was like I called it the Hobgoblin because it wasn't recognizable as a demon. I don't know.
So speaking of the demon itself, among some of the many changes from the novel to screen, the demon is never actually really shown in the novel, but set on fire immediately before anybody can see what it looks like. So I guess the movie decided.
So why didn't the movie do that?
That's don't know. They made a
damn it, dude. See, okay, now I'm super frustrated. This is why. So the book did something really cool and creative and just scared you with your imagination. So if the movie had hinted at what the demon looked like, the movie may have been like, we don't do star ratings around here. We do binge now, binge later, binge never. But seriously, if they had just hinted at the monster and not showed me this little shitty CGI hobgoblin that looked like a cheap rubber mask monster movie from like Troll 2, then it would go up a rating for me. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be a little bit better. Oh man, I'm gonna bite my tongue on this one.
Yeah.
All right. And do you have any more?
It makes me want to go read the book, but
because I'm anxious to just start tearing these movies apart. So, do you have any more facts to drop, or we just get right to the nasty business?
That's all the facts that I found.
Let's just chop this shit down. All right. Actually, we have to go to some messages. I'm like skipping over the sponsored messages so I can just rip apart the freaking. Oh boy, I'm excited now, folks. Okay, let's see. What are we gonna do here? We're gonna do some branding real quick before we get into this. Okay. All right, we'll be right back after these messages. First one up is Fight Camp brings you the best workout in the world into your home, and they make it fun. You can explore thousands of workouts led by expert trainers that you meet on your own time. Live punch stats motivate you to push harder and help you map out your progress. Knockout achievements or go head-to-head against other rivals from across the country. I didn't notice that last time. That's pretty cool. I could challenge you in my exercises, David. I could challenge you. Across the country or across the living room, learn the basics and sharpen your skills over time through tailored paths. You can get let's see. Getting stronger is hard work, but that doesn't mean it can't be fun. Fight Camp blurs the line between fitness and gaming. It's a fitter, happier you, which is worth fighting for. It also includes my favorite part, brain fitness. Boxing requires focus, precise combinations, push you to think about every punch you throw. It's the ultimate way to clear your mind and forget you're working out. Fight Camp comes with all the gear that you need to start boxing from home, including a freestanding punching bag, boxing gloves, quick hand wraps, and smart punch trackers, and takes up less space than you think. If you have enough room to do a push-up, you have enough room for Fight Camp, and it includes a workout for the whole family. Get the whole family involved. It's one of the only home workouts that is safe for kids because there's no heavy weights or spinning wheels. It's an amazing way to get their energy out, learn something new, and share an experience with the whole family. Join the biggest boxing community in the world without leaving your home with Fight Camp. You can get started by going to fightcamp.com/binge-watchers to learn more. That one was a mouthful. Try to get through the other one faster. CableTV.com is doing a horror movie trivia contest starting today I think. And it goes through the whole month of October this year. I'm going to tell you about it. They're partnering up with, I had their thing. Here it is. They're partnering up with Full Moon Features. They're the studio behind such cult classics like Puppet Master, Castle Freak, one of my favorites, Trancers, or Doll Man. And they're going to run a daily horror trivia contest on Twitter. So let me share this with you. You can go and check out the contest. It's running weekdays from October 3rd to October 31st. All the questions are posted by the Cable TV Twitter account. All contestants need to do to enter is reply to their daily trivia question with the correct answer. They're randomly going to select winners on the next business day. It's running again from October 3rd to the 30th. They're going to have a prize of a $25 Amazon gift card on the 31st. You can also have a chance to get a $50 gift card plus Full Moon Features prize package. That'd be cool if they were giving away some of their movies. Full contest details plus terms and conditions can be found on the link that we're sharing in the podcast notes. So that's a trivia contest, horror movie trivia contest sponsored by CableTV.com and their partner Full Moon Features, which I love those guys. So anyway, check out their trivia contest and see what's going on. That's going freaking all month long. Dave, you like trivia?
Did you ask me something?
Never mind, Dave. Forget it.
Because all I heard was Dave and then nothing.
Nice. Looks like we're recording podcasts in like different dimensions or something. I don't know.
Basically.
Hey Jordan. You want to lead us in favorite bits?
It's the bits. It's the time. Yeah. For the movie, I thought there was some pretty funny one-liners, like I'm going to Gretchen's where her mom's hamburger doesn't need any help because she was holding hamburger.
Oh, the fight about the hamburger helper
Yeah.
with the mom and dad at the main girl's house. Yeah.
There was not a lot, but there was like a few that made me laugh pretty freaking hard. I would also say that the mall exorcist was like the best part. One of his one-liners was run-of-the-mill puke and rebuke. I thought that was pretty funny, but
and that's the dude. Do you recognize him? He's the dude that plays the rich kid on Glow, and he finances the wrestling team and then takes him to Vegas.
Never seen Glow, but I heard that it's super good.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You got to watch Glow.
I'll have to watch it because it's like totally up my alley. Isn't it like chick wrestlers?
Oh, yeah.
I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. But yeah, no, I did feel like this movie was trying to be a lot of things. Like I liked the role religion had to play in this, and then comedy horror, but then like the whole goblin thing looks like it just stepped right out of a Harry Potter movie and just did not look like it.
Like Dobby the house elf?
Like a house elf. I'm like, it just went from like horror to fantasy, and I just was like, what? Felt like with Dave's details earlier about the movie, if they just they could have made it so much more like perfect or scary or anything that just it was like the one.
I found it lukewarm. Like it was like barely an exorcism. You know what I mean? Like I expected them to push the horror stuff, and like as you said, they advertise it like a horror comedy, but they're not pushing either genre like really as hardcore as they should. They're kind of just like give you like surface ingredients of like, oh yeah, so you mentioned cheeseburgers, so I'll use that. Well, you said it was a line from the movie, but it's like going to 7-Eleven and here's a cheeseburger that we can put in our microwave, or here's In-N-Out Burger, which you can get a really good burger. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're both cheeseburgers technically, but one is barely a cheeseburger, right? So it's like, it's kind of like that. Like we barely made a movie about exorcism. It's like, it qualifies. She gets possessed, she pukes, and then there's a demon. Right. Man,
I thought they did a good job of like playing into the other girls' like weakness or like their, fears. And I thought that was like way more scary and like cut a little deeper than the goblin. I guess it's supposed to be a demon, right? It's supposed to be like straight up freaking demon from hell, and it looked like a goblin. So yeah. But what about you, Dave?
I'm not even joking. I have nothing. I've watched this movie 1.5 times. This movie is in search of a personality. Like you've been saying, like it's trying to be a comedy and it's trying to be horror, and it's doing neither well.
Right.
I'm really sad because I was looking forward to this movie. This is a book I've been wanting to read, and I still might, because my understanding is fans of the book are not happy with it. So
I think the movie probably ruins the book's reputation, probably.
I don't know. I mean, it had a pretty strong reputation before that. Hopefully it doesn't kill. I mean, most book people are pretty wise to know whether movies can ruin stuff. But it has no personality. It just falls flat. And I really feel sorry for one of the stars, little Elsie Fisher. She was in that great movie a few years ago, 8th Grade. And she has just like not done too well since. Like she keeps getting stuff like this. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie earlier this year, although I liked it.
That was good, man. We spent a lot of time talking about how good.
I'm surprised people hated it, but a lot of people hated it. That she just needs to get a better agent or something. She keeps
maybe divisive fan base, because we have Hellraiser coming up, and I'm a hardcore Hellraiser fan. I've hated like half the movies that they've made, so if the new one sucks, it's a hard sell, man. It's a hard sell for certain movies.
Well, early word is the new Hellraiser is good. We'll see. Hopefully.
We'll see.
So yeah, I'm not even trying to be mean on this movie on purpose. Like I have nothing like there's stuff in this movie that's trying to be memorable. Like, hey, let's have a funny moment with fetal pigs, and she'll make it alive. It's not funny, at least not in this movie. It's just like nothing works in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. My favorite bit was when I got to turn it off. I don't know.
I wondered if there's dudes like that in the mall. Like if there was early TV like evangelists. Like so I remember Workaholics had an episode where there was like we bench press for the Lord or whatever. And it was like a team of workout people that are also really into the Bible. And then these brothers in the movie are like the same kind of thing. They have like a muscle troop, so like work out and pray. And that's why then the younger one supposedly is actually a real psychic, because he knows a little bit about real exorcism in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wondered, was that like a thing, like on like 80s television or something? Like if they had just groups like this and would do shows in malls. And I mean, maybe they did, because wrestling was becoming a big thing there. So maybe like there was like wrestling for Jesus or something. Who knows?
Like if they were on like the public access stuff in the day.
Oh, maybe like regional. But that's the other thing too. Like regional channels, like regional stuff's gonna come back now. Wow, it could have been like a regional TV show. Or you dial in on the phone, like, oh, you got a demon in your best friend? Give us a call. We'll figure it out. There's not too much good to say about this movie. I was excited to see him because I recognize the actor from Glow, which Dave was mentioning, public access, like that type of league for wrestling back in the day in the 80s probably would have been like a public access show in like Cincinnati or something. It's hard to find something to like in this movie. I mean, the most consistent scenes kind of happen in the beginning, like right before she gets possessed when they're running through the haunted house. But then they have like stereotypes. Like they have like the jock boy who's dumb. And you'll find another one of those in another tonight's movies. You'll see that again in Hocus Pocus too. Oh man. It's like all stereotypes, but obvious. I guess we can rate it. This is going to be easy. I think we all are generally going to rate it the same.
I'm going to be so nice and say it can be a binge later if you are going to have a girls' night with your girlfriends and want to watch something spooky and festive, but outside that scenario, binge never for sure. So, do
you think it's a gender-specific movie? Like, do you think you have to be part of some clique or have a different perspective to enjoy the movie?
I think if you're someone who likes trash TV like me, like The Bachelorette and The Bachelor, like you could probably like watch this with your girlfriends, and not that it's going to be this like movie all of you are talking about after. It's like something funny to put on. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Pass the time, but not like I'm not going to go tell people about this movie. You know what I'm saying?
Dave, does it qualify as a popcorn movie?
No, it's a turn off movie. I don't know. It's not the worst movie I've seen. Like, I don't have such anger about it. I can like go on a rampage, but it's just there's nothing here. It's a non-movie almost. Just everything falls flat. So dude, there's so many better movies you could watch. So binge never. Find something else to watch instead.
What do you guys define as a popcorn movie? Like, what is the definition of a popcorn movie?
Just a movie like you're engaged. Like, it's what they used to call, like, if you go see a blockbuster movie, you're just munching your popcorn. Like Top Gun this year would be like the popcorn movie of the year. Like yeah, they're doing
this is a description that Dave created a couple years ago. Like, this is a Dave only like standard. So a popcorn movie, from my understanding of being his friend, is that like if I recommend watching Armageddon and I think there's an emotional scene, between Bruce Willis and freaking Ben Affleck for like 5 seconds, Dave's like, oh, it's a popcorn movie. It's very entertaining, but it necessarily doesn't win awards and doesn't get talked about or, critiqued highly or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think this would be a popcorn movie either.
Like, it falls short. It falls short of even being a popcorn movie, right?
Yeah.
It sucks. I don't know what to tell you people. I was excited. I was like, we reported on this a few months ago, and we're like, this is coming out. This is going to be really cool, blah, 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 blah. It's adapted from like what sounds like a great premise. I'm probably not going to read the book now. I want to know what the hell the deal with there's all these owls flying around. I'm like, okay, well, owls are actually a symbol of wisdom. They're mostly associated as a good animal. I think if I were to ask like a Wiccan podcaster, hey, in Wicca, isn't an owl like a symbol of like goodness or something? So
it's
like,
because
there's owls through this whole movie. And whatever, the first there's one owl.
Movie
then
doesn't
two,
explain
then
it.
Four,
You have to,
then
like,
seven.
I had to do digging to find out.
Yeah.
What's
it's
the deal
because
with
the
owls?
god has an owl head and artist interpretations, and that's about it.
It could have been so much more cool if that was like explained too.
Yeah, like
right?
like John was like, "What's the deal with the owls?" I'm like, "I don't know."
That's all I thought. I mean, my most consistent thought in the movie was like, okay, they're doing a couple things we've seen in other movies, like, but then owls, so many owls. Like, so yeah, it's a binge never. And I think if it's 2 out of 3, Jordan was real nice this week, and she said a BL. But Dave and I both dropped that hard binge nevers on you. So I think overall, I mean, that's what that means. Don't ever watch it.
I just say skip it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we don't have more than 3 ratings. I'd say binge maybe if you're dying to see it, but even then, I'd be like, you can.
Oh, don't pull out an in between rating to save this movie, David. Save those for. Save those. Those are like get out of jail free cards, like save them for something you really want to save.
All right, let's store them.
So funny.
We also watched Hocus Pocus 2 and the Monsters. So let's you guys want to poke around Hocus Pocus, or do you want to dive into the Monsters?
I'll tell you what. I'll let Jordan go on. I'll tell you the one good thing I can say at it. The girls who played the young sisters in the first 10 minutes.
Cute.
Solid. The little girl playing the Bette Midler role was solid. That's what I got to say.
For Hocus Pocus.
First 10 minutes.
Anyway, there's 3 witches. They're called the Sanderson sisters. The main sister, when they're adults, was played by Bette Midler. Dave, you might assume they haven't seen Hocus Pocus or Hocus Pocus 2. So you're just like, it's a movie about 3 little girls. They go on an adventure. All right. Okay. So anyway, in the end of Hocus Pocus, the witches got locked away by a brother and sister team and a cat who was the previous brother who got cursed because he lost a sister. You know what's funny about the sequel? It does a great job of making you forget that the witches eat children. Like, it wants you to sympathize with them as children. And then they kind of glance over the fact that, like, some of the bad stuff in the first movie is because they ate that guy's sister. He's a cat, but his sister's gone. I think she shows up as a ghost, if I remember the movie correctly. She does show up at one point. But it's like, and they reference eating children a couple of times in the sequel, but you're right. When they're kids, they're just too cute because you kind of forget that they grow up to eat children to keep their magic alive. You know what I mean? Like, they just suck on baby souls.
They definitely glaze over. They're like, oh, killed Emily. Emily Binks, just real quick, just tossed it in there. But no, I thought it was so cute.
And you got Tony Hale, who's becoming almost a Disney exclusive actor, even though I like him in this indie movie that we're going to cover later. Eventually, we'll get around to it. But, he shows up playing the mayor and the bloodline of the mayor and the future mayor and every mayor. There's a new group of kids.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, we drop in another good actor. Who's the actor that played the shop owner, David, who tries to do some magic to stop the witches?
Yeah, he was in the werewolf movie that we watched.
Are you talking about Sam? Sam, I think his name's Sam Richardson.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's barely got anything to do in this movie. Kind of a couple jokes. Mostly hangs out with the mummified boyfriend, Billy something. Billy Batson? Billy Batson or something like that. Anyway,
Billy Butcherson. Yeah.
Billy Butcherson. And
but it is. Huh?
And that's played by
Doug Jones?
Man. What?
I think it's Doug Jones, the makeup.
Yeah, Doug Jones. So he's like a masterful actor who's usually in makeup. Most of his roles are in like monster makeup. He was in that movie that won the Academy Award that Guillermo del Toro did, Shape of Water.
Yeah.
That was so good.
But Jordan made a funny joke about the Roombas because essentially in these movies, there was a throwaway joke in the first one where they couldn't get a broom to fly on, so they just grabbed whatever they got. One of them got like a shop vac or something. And then in this one, it's like they got a wet vac, a broom, and then the thing for itself, Roombas or whatever, right?
I thought it was so funny because it's like the modern day brooms and mops. Yeah.
And Jordan got a tweet back from freaking someone that runs an account about Roombas having a mind of their own.
Yeah, Roomba retweeted me. So
the Roomba uprising. I guess that's it. We don't have any final thoughts on the movie. Whatever, watch it. If you have a Disney Plus, see, that's the thing. Like the other thing about like popcorn movies, we need to come up with like a movie that's just like a buffet. That's like you could watch a bunch of bad movies, but because you're paying the same money for all the movies, it doesn't matter, right? It's like it's on Disney Plus, and there's like a bunch of other movies, including the original. So if you watch 5 movies, it's already paid for itself, right?
Yeah.
Because you watch 5 things. You liked 3 of them, 4 of them, and that one's a dud, whatever.
Yeah. Disney Plus has said, like, hey, we've always got Marvel and Simpsons.
The Munsters. So apparently, I didn't know Rob Zombie was a fan of the Munsters. I like Herman Munster.
Yeah.
Fred Gwynn, he's the original Herman Munster. He's also in freaking... what's that thing with the dead cat?
Are you talking about
Engaged?
Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, so before he died, Fred Gwynn was actually featured as the nosy neighbor, but also a pseudo guide through the workings of the Pet Cemetery. But anyway, go back and watch them in the original Munsters, colorized or original black and white. The show's great.
So
the movie's not. I literally said it's a well-dressed turd, and I kind of stand by that. I guess it'll be awkward, but I don't think Rob Zombie and I are ever going to be in a place where we're getting a drink or at the same bar at the same time, so I don't think it's going to matter. As it turns out, one of his Halloweens is my favorite of his movies. His version of Halloween 2 I like a lot. So,
I haven't seen the Halloween movies in a while. I remember liking them, but yeah, a well-dressed turd is probably the best way to say it. Or my wife watched it for a half hour with me, and she called it a turd that rolled down a glitter hill.
Oh,
because it's pretty to look at, but it's still a turd at the.
That's about it. It has a lot of style. There's a lot of tone, but
you know what?
substance.
I had I think 2 giggles, and this is saying something. The 2 giggles I got from this movie were visual jokes or reading jokes. Like she's reading a book like The Undertaker's Secret Lover, and there was like another a newspaper joke that said like Count Orlok eaten by rats on it. Like that was it. Like, and they weren't jokes delivered by people. It was like reading jokes,
just background fodder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Rob Zombie is not funny. I mean, here's the funny thing. If anybody buys into the auteur theory, of like the director being like the visionary that carries a movie, Rob Zombie is an auteur. He always has a visual flair, but he can never tell a story. Like this movie has no plot almost. Like, oh, they fall in love, they get married, and then they go on wacky adventures.
Does nepotism apply to working with your wife or just your children? Like
I don't.
Sherry Moon Fry or whatever. No, that's
Sherry Moon Zombie. Well, the
Sherry
thing
Moon
is
Zombie. Sorry, I was thinking of the other one who plays what's
Punky Brewster.
Punky Brewster, yeah.
Different. Like
different
I'm
moon.
beginning to wonder if she actually wants to act, or if he just has to put her in these things, and she just goes along with it because she's not. The Halloween movies are the closest she's gotten to doing actually good acting. She's just not good.
Oh yeah,
but then again, nobody else is in this movie either, so it's not like all on her shoulders. Fred,
to be fair, I tried to give her a chance that there's a witch movie that he made about witches in like a possessed theater.
I hated Lords of Salem. Bleh.
Yeah,
I hated that movie. Rob Zombie's not a.
Not
a
you know
good
what?
director.
You just reminded me of something because you said the word Salem. I should point out in Hocus Pocus 2. I mean, we're moving backwards in the conversation, but in Hocus Pocus 2, like that version of Salem does not exist. Like all the old houses are not clustered together in like a little area that says like, historical houses. In the real Salem, it's like city, shitty town, an old house with a plaque on it, so it's there, and then it goes the rest of the shitty. Then there's another town, whatever. And there's like a McDonald's and like a bunch of pizza places, an abnormal number of pizza places, and an army supply surplus store. But basically, like, there's like an old cemetery from the 1800s or whatever, 1600s. The Witch Museum sucks, and it's definitely a tourist trap. They have like these old animatronic things that go like, in 1660, John Proctor, and like that.
Oh my god!
And anyway, thanks for saying the name of that movie because then it got me to go on a diatribe and a little tangent about. I really wanted people to know that the real Salem was just like a place.
Yeah,
but yeah, Hocus Pocus definitely puts some movie magic on that. It's like a city, It's like any old city that sucks in the people who don't live there with just cash. Just give me your cash. Come in here, I'll tell you all about the witches. Give me your cash. I can tell Jordan really wants to be in a good mood.
The monsters are so good. We're talking about
just I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'll never go to Salem.
Jordan's never experienced a bipolar episode like this, has she, David? It's just totally dark in tone. I don't know. It'd be really funny if, like, eventually I'm in a meeting and they're like, oh, by the way, we heard this one podcast that you did. I'm like, we're not going to make Top Wolf now because we heard that podcast, David.
Yeah. I'm trying to roll along with half of what you're saying.
Story of my life.
Yes. Top Wolf.
Okay.
Which, again, our fictional movie is much better than this real movie that got put into the world, The Monsters.
Throwing down the gauntlet.
This is true.
Our fictional movie. Darn.
Having said that, hey, Rob Zombie, if you like the idea enough, sure, you can direct the movie. Make Top Wolf. He already made the trailer for the werewolf movie in Grindhouse. It was like Werewolf Women of the SS.
So this podcast is about every other movie that you should watch. We've named like several, at least 6 other movies that you can watch instead of the 3 that we mentioned would have been good stand-ins. Although, I can't believe Dave doesn't like Vampire in Brooklyn. Do you know this movie, Jordan?
I do not.
The historically bad movie that Eddie Murphy and Wes Craven stepped away
basically
from.
Eddie Murphy plays Dracula.
It's not a good movie. Even the stars and
dude, Angela Bassett does a great job in that movie. She's doing good.
That's because Bassett can't be bad. That's not her. That's not her fault. Just because the surrounding movie around her still sucks. Bassett's always going to be great.
Yeah, but it's kind of a cool idea. Like, what if Dracula was a Jamaican vampire and then he goes to the Bronx instead of going to London? It's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the idea. It's just the movie never worked. It's kind of like the movie tonight. Like, it's trying to be a comedy, and then there's also trying to be a horror movie, and it never quite fits together well.
Yeah, it's less funny. It's more of a horror movie, that one.
In fact, I think, I remember hearing some behind the scenes, they hired Wes Craven to make it scary, and then they kept throwing in jokes. He's like, I'm not a joke guy. You know what I mean? I don't direct comedy. So it always felt a little off.
And how do you feel about the movie, Johnny?
Which one? The one that I brought up? This
last one. To rinse your mouth from the taste.
Which one?
Vampire in Brooklyn.
There you go.
Oh, I think it's pretty good. Obviously, it's a guilty pleasure movie. I would rank it as a popcorn movie if I did my rankings by that, but I don't. Because we have a trademarked ranker on this one. Binge now, binge later, binge never. If you love vampire movies, it's going to be on a binge later list somewhere. But I watch it every year. It's one of my Halloween seasonals. I watch it every October.
I'll have to watch
and,
that doesn't feel like a fair rating then. If you watch it every year, that should be
so
like
the first one, I watched The Monsters first. Then I watched My Best Friend's Exorcism. Then I tried to watch Hocus Pocus. I fast-forwarded through all movies. Then Dave was referencing something, and I was like, I don't remember that. So then I watched Hocus Pocus 2 again. And Vampire in Brooklyn is still better than these movies.
You know what? Here's the thing. I'm not even going to argue with you. I'm sure Vampire in Brooklyn is still better than these.
At like 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, I was considering sending you guys a text. Watch Vampire in Brooklyn turds? Question mark.
Isn't there also like a movie that came out last year, like Vampires versus the Bronx or the Bronx? I don't know. It was like
Vampires
a
in the
movie.
Bronx. Yeah, 3
There you
kids. It's like a. It's very Lost Boysy, you know.
Ooh.
Some kids are like, "Oh, there's definitely vampires here. Let's go do something about it." Get on their bikes, race around, kill vampires. Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to give it a rewatch. Like you seem to stick up for it a lot. Maybe it's just time that I give Vampire Brooklyn a rewatch.
I'll give it a shot for sure.
Nice. I win. Go ahead, Dave. You got something to say?
I mean, you just kind of come. Isn't that like you having the final word? I guess.
I know.
I don't
So
know. I
much
guess
power I wield with this
Vampire
keyboard
Brooklyn.
that changes camera angles and cuts David off.
Oh man.